Good morning. Hi. Welcome to Chat and Craft with Lorraine. I'm Lorraine Tierney and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Warner, New Hampshire. Today is Sunday, March 26th. It's about 11 a.m. and I'm going to be playing today with the Layering Diorama Dies. I hope if you catch this live that you'll say hello and let me know that you are here. And if you're watching the replay, I'd love to know that also and know what you think of the cards when the video is done. At the end of this, after we make a card, I'll show you a few more things I've done with these dies. So these dies are one of those things that have been on my wish list for a long time, and one of those things I keep saying, oh, I don't really need these. Do I need these? And then I'd see another card with them and I'd think, yes, I do need these. I'm going to get these. So I finally got them. They're in the annual catalog on page 172 and they just look like this. You can see that there are 7 dies and they stack in approximate shapes. They're not exactly the same shape. I like to store my dies on a magnetic sheet and then I label what they are and I put the number of dies so that when I'm cleaning up I can count. And funny story, I do reuse these. If the dies retire or I give them away or sell them, I'll use this magnetic sheet again for something else. And I had a set of dies on that I didn't change the name, and it was something to do with the flower, and I had new floral dies on here when the number was 13 and I only had 12 dies when I was cleaning up one time, and I spent an hour looking for a die that wasn't missing until I realized that I had had the wrong name on there. So that was pretty silly. All right, I hope I have volume. Let's see if it says my mic is working. Mic is muted, mic is on. Okay, so hopefully I am all set. I made that mistake once and I haven't forgotten it. So let's get started. We're going to use the By the Bay, no, Seaside Bay stamp set today. This is one that I really, really love. I've used it way more than I ever thought I would. We did a stamp camp with it and it was a lot of fun. And this is the card we're going to make today. And this is the layering diorama part. And then it opens this way. So I like when I make a card that goes landscape or horizontal to do it this way, because if it opens like this, sometimes after a while it just starts to collapse. So if you make it this way, it won't collapse. I don't always remember to do that, and sometimes I cut my card bases ahead of time so I don't do it. So it's a piece of cardstock that's 4 1/4 by 11. So I cut the piece the long way. And now I'm going to score it at 5 1/2. So you cut it in half in one direction and then score it in half on the other direction. Okay, I did not bring my bone folder over, so we're going to use the old fingernail. Okay, so that's the card base, and we're going to put a piece of this. This is By the Bay paper or Seaside Bay paper. I like this one that looks wood grain. So we're going to put this one on, and I want it to go the long way. I guess it really could go either way, but I want it to go this way. So my 5 1/4 dimension is going to be this way. I'm going to do 5 1/4 by 4, so we'll have a little border around it. And before I put it on here, I'm going to cut it with one of those the dies, the Layering Diorama die, and I think I used the 4th largest one. I wanted to be able to see some of the paper here. Let's see if that's the size I used. I gotta figure out how it goes on here. Yep. So I'm basically going to put this in the center. I'm going to leave just slightly more room at the top and the right because I know I want to put my sentiment and my circle there. Okay, and I'm going to run this through my stamp and cut and emboss machine on the floor because it shakes this table terribly. So here I'm going to layer it. I have the base and then the precision plate, the plate number 2, and then a clear plate and another clear plate. And I just realized I'm not on the side that can see comments. How do I get out of here? Okay, now I can see. All right. So please say hello. And I'll be right back. I'm just going to run this through my stamp and cut and emboss machine right here on the floor. Okay, and save this fun shape because this makes a fun background for another card or another piece. So here's the shape I cut out, and I'm going to just lay this on my card base right now, opened, because I need to cut the opening in the card base. I want to see a little bit of the mint macaron. So I'm going to get the die that is just one smaller than this. Okay, it's just a little bit smaller. And I could put it any way I want and show an irregular amount of border under there. That looks really cool. Or I tend to be a little more uniform and a little more matchy-matchy. So I'm going to line it up kind of like that. And I still get a little bit more in one corner. I'm checking to make sure my paper is pretty much where I'm going to want it. Get this die where I want it. And then I use that Post-it note tape to hold my die in place. And I'm going to run this through my die stamp and cut and emboss machine, and I will be right back. Okay. And you can see you can just peel that paper off. I reuse these little sticky tabs. And now I have the window in the front of my card as well as in my DSP. And I love how that looks. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and adhere this piece of paper, hi Courtney, onto the front. Happy Sunday to you. And I'm just going to open this up so I can see those edges a little bit better. Get that out of the way. This is why I always have glue on my cutter, because I use it as a surface a lot too. Okay, so there's that. But you can see I have some fish in there. And I did that by putting a piece of DSP on this side, and I didn't cut it. I left it big so it would look nice and neat over here. I suppose a cutout pattern would look pretty there also, but I'm going to leave it big again. So I'm going to just take a gander at where I want to cut. I think that will work just fine. So again, I'm going to do my 5 1/4 this way and do my 4 inches this way. So both pieces of designer series paper are 5 1/4 by 4. And now I'm just going to layer this right in here. And I'm not going to put the adhesive on this because I don't trust myself to get it where it doesn't show. So I'm going to put it on here, but I'm going to come in a little bit because I know this is going to leave a border showing. And I want to make sure I don't have this upside down. That would be bad. Okay, so it looks like it was peeking through the right way. I like this little ledge here at the bottom. Make sure your ruler is pushed in and it has a nice little lip there. You can get your paper nice and square. And then put this in. And I love the way it looks like the little fishies are swimming around. Oh, I'm so glad you checked Facebook, Courtney. So now we're going to decorate this. And I'm going to stamp a sentiment on a circle from the Stylish Shapes dies. I forget which size this one is. If it's not the smallest one. It's a pretty good size. Oh, I forgot my ink. Let me grab my mint macaron ink. I use the little spots here at my daughter's house because they take up much less space. It's really hard to see this color on the stamp. It looks like it's not picking up any ink, but I think it is. And this says, "Just thinking of you today." There we go. So that will be my sentiment, and I took that from the Flowering Tulips set. Then I used a bunch of the dies that go with this Seaside Bay stamp set. I used some little shells, some big shells, some tall seagrass, and some smaller seagrass. Hi, Jan. And cut those out of the piece of designer series paper. I cut them out of this side of this paper and some gold foil. So I made these. I love these shells. They're so pretty. So this card is kind of unusual for me in that there's not a whole lot of stamping on this card. It's more die cuts. So I'm going to go ahead and put my sentiment right there, and I'm going to pop that up on dimensionals. I could have also put this back piece on with dimensionals to give it a little bit of depth there, but I didn't think it was really necessary. but you could do that to make it look more like a tunnel or a diorama that you're looking in on. And now I'm going to put the bigger shell, and there is a right side and a wrong side. You can kind of see the difference with the embossing on that. I'm going to put that one of those there and a gold one there. And I did grab some of the mini dimensionals to put on these smaller shells. Oops, can't get the backing off of that. Okay, there we go. It doesn't seem to be, okay, settling in right there. I want this one. I'm going to try to pull this up. There we go. I'm going to move this dimensional a little bit, or take it off. I'm going to use a little one. I want it to be up just a little bit higher. So I'm going to put a little one only on the right hand side. Wow, these little ones don't want to peel. There we go. I'm going to put just a tiny dab of glue on the left. There we go. That's better. Wanted that up a little bit higher. Okay, and now for these, I don't want to have a lot of glue squishing out, so I'm going to use some mini glue dots that I just dropped on the floor. So I'll just press this on and put one right there. And now this mini glue dot's going to be a little bit bigger than the bottom of that, but I know I'm going to cover it up, so it shouldn't stick something there that I don't want to be there. Okay, and I'm going to layer some of these shells. I did cut some out of mint macaron, and some, whoops, are out of the designer series paper. Where did my glue dots? Oh, it's on my finger. There we go. I like the gold accent in this paper a lot too, and it looks so pretty when you add a little bit more gold. I'm just going to keep putting some shells around. Let's put a gold one in there. It's hard to see these glue dots sometimes. I have another one stuck to my thumb. Okay, so we have quite a pile of shells. Oh, I guess I can do one more because this guy's going to feel left out if I don't put him on. So we have a pile of shells there and a couple shells, and so we need a little bit of bling. On this one I used some milky dots, and these are unfortunately discontinued. I really liked them. They came in some different colors, but they ran out and they are not going to be replaced. So I'm going to do some pearls on this one. These are just the basic pearls. This suite comes with some bigger flat adhesive pearls, but I thought I would just go traditional on this one and put a couple of pearls there. And then we need a piece of paper for the inside of this. And I think I want to stamp a little something on the inside there. I'm not necessarily a sentiment, but I love these shells and the little bit of sand. So I think I will do those. Let me grab a block and some crumb cake ink. These look really pretty in the crumb cake. It's a good thing my assistant is not here today because I don't have any stickers on this stamp set and he doesn't like that. Yeah, so that I'm just going to do a little something like that on the inside to stick with the beach theme. And I always go left corner, so I'm shaking it up today and going right corner. That's one of my favorite stamps in this set. I just think that's pretty. The shells embossed in gold, Courtney? Oh, yeah. That would be pretty. You know how I feel about embossing, too. I love to emboss. So there is the inside of our card. So I just love this paper and the shells and the Layering Diorama Dies. I knew I needed them. It just took me a while to figure it out. So I made a few other cards just playing with these. I used the two smallest ones just to put a sentiment on a very simple card, although I have a cross stamp. I'm thinking about maybe putting a cross up on the hill there, but I didn't want to do it before this in case I ruined the card. But just a simple sentiment in the two smallest of the dies. And then this one I cased right from the catalog. This is exactly the same. I loved it. I love the scene inside that. And it could be a graduation card or a new beginning card. I'm not sure exactly what, but I loved it. Loved the colors. And then this one I did with the Daffodil Daydream stamp set, I think it's called. These are just colored with a couple of blends, and I just layered a couple of those dies cut like that. And I love the pieces that you're left with. I'm going to figure out something fun. So these are from my other card I made, but something fun to do with these different shapes. Maybe some paper piecing, because you can put these back inside. So I really enjoy it. Oh, Andrea, you just got those dies. That's great. I think you're going to love them. I'm going to be playing with them some more, and I'll be sure to post pictures. So these are the ones I did before, and here's the card we made today, and I'm sure I'll be making some more of these. Thank you for joining me today. If you do not have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you'd like to buy any of these products, you can head to my blog, chatandcraftwithlorraine.com, and I have a Shop Now button on there. And if you need a catalog, I'd be happy to help you with that or any other questions you might have about making cards. I love to make cards. I love to share cards with other people. I like to help people make cards. It just spreads joy in the world, and I think we're all in need of joy. So send a card. Don't forget to mail out the beautiful cards that you make. Thank you for joining me today on this Sunday morning. And if you watch the replay, thank you so much. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.